Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel guilty for having spent the last couple of weekends like trying to get something done or do something on the stuff and not feeling like I actually got anything done. So
For self-care or schoolwork?
schoolwork, like I cannot get into the diversity stuff just because I feel like I'm just not connected to it anymore. The 2 weeks that she gave us almost was worse because now I don't feel like I should even pick it up.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I'm so behind with everything.
Mm,
But when I was looking for diversity, it's all immigration stuff. And
yeah,
the video we have to watch on Reina Grande, it's like 46 minutes long. I watched it in 2 segments over the course of 2 days. I'm like, I don't know, these last 2 semesters, I'm an emotional person already, but even though I'm so behind, I'm feeling so inspired and moved by so many different things that I'm just like an emotional mess. Not
Yeah.
really. I'm not a mess. I just like border crossing and just learning different all the fine print of and also what the heck it means to be from the United States or like an awful group of people. There's just so many things. There's just so many things that are disheartening and heavy on the heart, heavy on the
Absolutely.
mind, and it's like I'm excited to be more involved and there's just so many things, there's just so many things.
On top of it all, I keep finding little things happening, like all of my electronics decided that I needed to re-register them. So now I'm working through that little issue every once in a while too.
Like
I think the last update killed me.
Mm.
To make you feel better,
Like-
Michelle, I took Thursday and Friday off, and I did
Uh-huh.
probably
So
a
did I.
paragraph of the community study in those 2 days.
Oh my
Well-
God. It happens. I mean, and also I've got the just family strains and like Friday morning my daughter said, Mom, it's Friday fun day, because they go to preschool Monday through Thursday. You're gonna hang out with us, right? And I was like, well, Cass, Mommy has her exercise class and I'm going to that right now, and then I'll be back and Grandma's coming over to hang out with you guys while Daddy works and Mommy studies, and then I have to work at 3. And she put her little head down, pouted her
Oh,
sweet little mouth and walked away. So it's like I have all that too, where I'm just like, oh God, like I can't be everywhere at the same time and give all of me to everything. But that's just life. We adapt and ride the waves of it all.
absolutely.
Don't even bring up like our community study. It's like I have stuff everywhere. I know I have enough to get the paper done,
Yeah.
but I've done like four questions for that class, like the weekly questions. Like that's just going to be another field day of trying to catch up with all those questions.
I feel like discussion questions in general are like the least, the smallest part of the grades.
Mhm.
So I'll do best I can to keep up and, kind of catch up again. But I honestly, I think the papers are like
I've done 6 of
80.
them.
I mean, yeah, the papers are like what 80% of the grades for each of the classes. So I mean,
Right.
I don't know. It just, to me, it's like a lot of it's overkill too. Some of those questions on the community class are just ridiculous. Like, they're very vague and you spend hours
Well,
writing
you
about
know
them.
who wrote that class, right?
I know. Our old
So
friend, Dr. Bowtie. Yep. Oh, yeah.
One-
Anyway,
I just wanted to say one thing. I'm really big into kind of like the power of positive projection and synchronicity, and how, you could have a conversation with one person and then you turn around and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, like little things like that. And trying to do some of the diversity reading and watching this woman, Reina Grande, talk about border crossing, like, I don't know if you guys listen to NPR at all, or like follow any of it. I mean, I have XM radio in my car, so I feel a little spoiled, but I do follow them on Facebook, or I'll see, you go online for a second, you see different headlines, and it's all about, these kids at the border, these unattended kids. It's just like everywhere I turn, I feel like I'm running into stories of things that are relevant to what we're studying, and it's
Yeah.
kind
We're
of
also in
powerful.
foster care system now, these kids that parents have been deported, and they can't locate them.
I can't even imagine, Jenny. Like,
They're now,
It's
so
a
now you have
sad situation.
kids living in strangers' homes that speak a different language.
Mhm.
Well, and that's a challenge, even when you have kids that are like from the US.
Mhm.
Mhm.
My kids, one of the first foster homes they're placed with was all Spanish speaking. So I mean, they're 2 and 3 at the time, but I mean, come on, it's hard enough to adapt to an environment where you're not used to the people around you, much less speaking a different language. It's really a challenge.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we already know, how children are affected at such young ages by trauma and so many things. And you look at all of these kids that are enduring this significant trauma, being separated while politicians are trying to figure out their BS things. Meanwhile, these kids are like in crisis. And what's that going to look like in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years,
Yep.
And I'm reading, I forget what it's called, toxic, forget what it's called. It was in, huh?
I saw something with that. There's some kind of, I remember that about toxic something or other with kids.
Toxic trauma, or like pediatricians
Yeah.
and social workers is in one of our articles. Like, if you guys could see my desk right now and my ironing board, the floor, like, it's just
You should be blessed just to have a desk. All I have is my kitchen table. I'm not allowed to keep things on here. So once I get done, I have to put it all away.
yeah. Yeah, it's
At least Terrence he's got a promoted. He's not in the basement anymore. Now he's upstairs.
Just for today.
Oh, okay. Get the house to yourself.
No, I wish. I got 40 minutes for free.
All right. No. Oh, goodness. So you guys, I was just looking at the PowerPoint quickly, and I noticed it looks like the same stuff as last week, like the roles, but Shulman has different roles identified, and the culture for work, and any inspiring words about the group stuff this week?
Are you looking at 7 and 8 PowerPoints?
Yeah. I think that's where we're at. I just think, what I've been watching, which is, I know probably dates myself, but for some reason I've been watching the original Bob Newhart show on Hulu. And it's kind of funny because the whole thing is he's a clinical psychologist and sees all these clients, and he's running these groups and stuff. I just thought it was kind of interesting. It's very dry humor, but just the way it walks through this kind of stuff, like, it has a little bit of clinical significance too, because he does have certain things that goes through it and just like kind of makes light of them, but it's fun.
Sounds interesting.
Not really, but okay.
I was gonna say, it'd be like dry humor.
Yeah, from the 60s. Yeah, it's older than me. So I was watching that For All Mankind on Apple TV, which is an awesome show, and it kind of had this thing about them watching that show, so I checked it out. I think it might be the reason my dad got his doctorate in psychology.
Why your dad what?
Got his doctorate in psychology back in the day. So anyway, so I guess we're all really overwhelmed, right? Oh boy.
did you want to try to talk about chapter 7 from the PowerPoint or 8?
Well, it combines the two. I don't really have a preference. And I would just kind of, I was interested in trying to figure out what role is what for who.
Well, the scapegoat is somebody who is basically attacked for who they are and exploited.
So I don't think any of us is that. I don't know.
No, we're not. We're not these. I think these are for the people who are in the group, not conducting
Yeah.
the group.
Well,
Yeah,
in theory, though, we're a group. So the theory is that, you know, you might be able to identify some characteristics of each of these things, I think.
I remember
That-
from my undergrad, when we had this theory group, some of these could be also positive,
Yeah.
Mhm.
like the gatekeeper, defensive member,
Mhm.
could have a positive spin.
But maybe we should try to think about who would identify with some of them.
Jay,
It'd be
do
easier
we
for us to
wanna-
identify that in the other group, or you think for ourselves? I just think it'd be an interesting exercise for us to think through, like who's what. Oh, there she is.
A mess. I think you're putting too much pressure on us. I'm just kidding.
All right, well,
Let's see.
I mean, just off the cuff, I'd say I tend to be a monopolizer. I might characterize Terrence as more of the silent member that kind of sits back. I don't know who the gatekeeper would be. What's the gatekeeper characterized as?
I have the
So is it
deviant.
self-evident?
I have the deviant member is often, I don't know why it's deviant, is often the one who feels the strongest sense of urgency about a particular issue. In a sense, the deviant behavior is an effort to move the group towards real work.
So that might be Jenny.
deviant in real life too.
I'm not-
Stray from the
keep in mind,
norm.
I'm not touching judgment to any of these. I'm just saying. So where would Michelle fall in this? Which one would she be closest to?
let's see here.
What do you see yourself as, Michelle, from those choices?
The cuckoo bird.
No, because you're always engaged. You always have like emotional like involvement in it too. Like you're always right there with it in the
Mhm.
conversation.
I'm looking at my notes here.
The fact that you have notes on what we're talking about, which is the notes that she gave us, is kind of interesting. Like you were so prepared, and then you're like always concerned about how you're always behind, but you're always so prepared.
I am very behind with progress on my assignments, but I know last week in preparation for this meeting, I tried something new and I just sat with my book and I started a Word document and I took
Mhm.
notes on the chapter,
That's a good
which
idea.
I've never done that before because I feel like writing just reinforces it for my brain better. The act of
Yeah.
writing it just, so it feels more distant to do it this way on the computer, but I have a lot more notes.
No,
Hmm.
well, see, for me, usually when you have like a live in-person class, the notes always kind of help me kind of crystallize it in my
Yeah.
head. But I don't know. I haven't really. I'm finding like these online classes, it's really hard to take notes. I just don't. I don't know what to focus on as much when I'm reading it.
Mhm.
So I usually kind of use the writing assignments as my
Notes.
my focuser, so to speak. I assume if it's important enough for them to have an assignment for us to write on, it must be important for the class. So, yeah. But I tried to start with notes when I first started, and I just gave up.
Mhm.
It's because most of the things that are important they give you, and then I use the PowerPoints to kind of jot things down.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Oh goodness.
I know when I was looking at this material, the scapegoat and the deviant member and gatekeeper, I think we might have started to touch on this at the end of our class, at the end of our group last week.
Mhm.
Just remembering these roles in the groups that I was part of in a residential,
Mhm.
and how, you know, it seemed like with let's take like adolescent boys, for instance, you know, they're all there, they're kind of physically present, but there's always something else going on behind the scenes. And then you got the one kid who's more of like, you know, will do sort of say like inappropriate things or whatever to distract from the group, make fun of someone else who's more quiet, and just all the things that sort of ensue from there. And then running groups with girls, I'm not trying to generalize and say girls are more dramatic, because I'm not saying that's a characteristic of women. I'm not trying to do any of that. But residential girls versus residential boys is different in my experience, and the dynamics and the inner workings of you know, a program where they all sleep there. And girls are, in my experience, I'm not generalizing again, in my experience in the residential, they're so much more ready to make fun of someone and like throw down. And like,
I don't think it's bad to make that judgment, because honestly, I think it's not necessarily, you're not judging or saying there's any like aspect of it that says one's better than the other. But I think there's
Right.
definitely a difference in like residential settings for women versus men.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Youth, adolescents.
Yeah, especially adolescents.
Hmm.
I mean, the boys are all trying to like, you know, avoid each other, be, you know, macho about stuff or kind of insecure about things, but girls will be right out there telling you what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. And most of the clinicians, the LCSWs that were there, and even if there were MSWs working towards being licensed, most of the clinicians at the Children's Center were women, and young
Mhm.
women, and, you know, attractive young women. So then you have, you know, a young woman coming in there in her 20s, and, you know, she looks real nice, she goes to the gym, this kind of thing. That adolescent boys like just popping out of their skin, like not even knowing what to do. And it's like,
Oh, you
guys, let's
experienced
get
that
back,
too?
let's get back to the group. Like, let's go.
I got like 8 years of training out of that, telling everybody about the sexual harassment slash boundary depletion in a boy
Mhm.
adolescent group home with these young girls that wanted, you know, their idea of an outing was take the boys to the beach while they're wearing these bikinis.
Yeah.
Then surprise, the boys don't give them any respect when they get back to the house.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just bizarre. I mean, then those long meetings where they're trying to defend that as, you know, oh, well, the boys should be able to handle being out with girls that are, you know, having bikinis. They should know how to respect women.
They're in a program, like
Yeah.
who's modeling what for them?
Yeah, exactly.
Jay, you're giving me a flashback. We took the kids on a like an end of the year
Yeah.
trip to Hammonasset, where it's
Mhm.
boys and girls from the residential staff. You know, the kids always have to be an you got to be like an eyesight. They can't be out of your eyesight. And I think some staff was getting a little bit lax and comfortable, like we're hanging out the beach or having hamburgers or whatever, and let the kids walk a little bit. And then they get in the
Mhm.
water. What are you going to do? They're in the water. They're out there like treading water together.
Mhm.
Oh no, you know, girl A and boy A are right next to each other in the water. What are they doing? Like, what the hell are you supposed to do now?
I
They're
know
in
what
the
they're
water.
doing.
Oh yeah, that was a really
Yeah.
difficult trip to the beach. Let's just say that. And then we
Yeah.
couldn't find some of the kids, and it was like, oh my God, what is happening?
Well, you know, my experience was that it was not very shocking that the boys started having fantasies about the female staff, and there's not a whole lot of evidence that it wasn't an actual event. It was just, you know, there's debate, you know, people are being accused and all that too.
Well,
It's
look
just
at
not a
me.
good, yeah, it's just not a good
Look at
idea. But you know, I don't know. there's actual incidents, I was a witness of things that it could have very well have been, at
Mhm.
that group home, in the one locked room where staff could, be talking secretively and,
Sure,
the kids are around too. It's just such a difficult situation.
it definitely is. I've seen lots of
Yeah,
crazy things.
yeah, absolutely. Oh, goodness. Ah,
Have you
I'm
guys
trying
heard
to
back?
decide whether this group thing is like a help for us to have a little breather from all the writing and stuff, or if it's kind of just a distraction. I can't tell.
Well, it feels comfortable.
Yeah,
And all
I
these other
think,
spaces when I'm cramming doesn't feel comfortable.
yeah, I
What are you
think
gonna say,
last year,
Terrence?
well, last year when we used to do the Zoom thing, I think it made me feel that I wasn't the only one so far behind.
Yeah.
Mhm,
So it kind of
Mhm.
relaxed me a little bit, knowing that everyone's still struggling with the work and
mhm.
it's not just me.
yeah,
You know, one thing I've noticed, and I've gotten to know you guys on a much more, intimate, deeper level because of this group A, group B, but there have been times, please know that I'm not being negative. But there have been times where I've like asked a genuine question, like, hey, does anyone know this? Hey, cohort, it's me, Michelle. Like, does anyone know the answer to this? Not even the answer to a question, just a question like an assignment, but does anyone know about this? And no one responds. Only you
yeah,
I
guys
feel like
respond.
everybody has their own like smaller group chat now, so nobody really puts anything or checks the.
Which
I
is
think you're right.
fine.
There's like a
But
loyalty to this smaller group now all of a sudden.
it is, but
Mhm.
like I disheartening might be a strong word, but I'm like in my head there's been a couple times where I'm like, well, screw you guys then. Like I'm
In
asking a
my head,
question.
I'm like, it's one last text message going back and forth.
Yes,
I haven't
true,
seen a
Becky.
message from the larger group in a long time, maybe since
Yeah.
the start of this class, because I
Yeah.
think it's like we've broken into our smaller groups and all of a sudden we have like a loyalty to the small group and it's easier. It's easier
Yeah,
to, it's easier to kind of follow a conversation with four of us than it is, all of us in the
right.
larger.
I feel like Heather and Mary have responded a couple of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not surprising because they're very
Yeah.
like, engaging in
Helpful.
that way.
Yeah.
But no, I'm actually more comfortable with the smaller group than I
I
was
mean,
with the
I
big
miss
group.
Chris's snark remarks.
Yeah, some of them.
He's
I
funny.
don't know. I like him. I think he's a great guy and I appreciate him, but I also feel like and it's probably because I see it myself in it too, but there's like a long-windedness to all of his comments. So
Mm,
I wish sometimes I'd be able to have him just get to the point,
mhm.
but that's my own impatience sometimes. Oh,
On a
but
different side note, did you guys, anyone hear back from Diane Michelson after submitting your field placement
no,
application?
I
I
haven't
just
heard
got a
anything back.
thank you email.
Yeah, me too. That's it.
That was it.
What'd you say, Terrence?
I just got a thank you email.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, that's it. Confirming she got it. That's about it.
cool.
Yeah, don't worry. You're not missing anything. I know that's the feeling I always have. It's what I'm missing. Like I feel like this is like the end of the semester, but it's only in the middle. So I'm not
I
Right.
know.
just add a little comfort for you there, Michelle.
Oh, listen, I'm trying not to even think about, I'm just trying to stay present because it doesn't serve
Mm.
us any good to worry about like the fall, what's gonna happen in the fall with an internship and all of that. I actually have an interview on Tuesday, a virtual interview for
Oh,
field
wow.
placement.
Nice.
Were you a part of setting it up or did they send you all the information as it ready to go?
Diane sent me, so after 2 groups ago, when Jay, you were kind of pushing me a little bit, like, what really is at the root of your time management, Michelle? Let's see what unfolds. And I was like, well, this is what's going on. This is my story. Professor Anne Marie encouraged me to reach out to Diane. So I reached out to Diane, and then it's just been sort of a trail of like positive interactions with me and Diane. So I disclosed what, just sent her a thoughtful email. This is what's going on. It's adding stress. Like, how's this going to affect me? Blah, blah, blah. And then Diane was like, send me your information, like ASAP. We'll work together and we'll find you an appropriate placement working with a different population, as I have all this stuff pending with children. So I sent her my stuff like that day. She responded, thank you. Now I remember when she emailed the cohort about that application, she said, when you hear back from me, you must respond within 24 hours. Do you remember that? She said something about that.
I don't remember that, but that's good to know. I should double
Yes.
check and make sure I didn't miss anything.
So I responded, I got her my stuff quickly. She said, thank you. And like within a week, she sent an email to me. I was CC'd, and it was to this woman. I'm forgetting her name at the moment. Let's call her Julie. At New Reach Women's Homeless Shelter, and she thought that would be a good match because that was one of the, working with women like subjected to domestic violence is something.
Oh yeah, it sounds great for you.
So I emailed that lady with my resume, like within hours of receiving that. She responded the next day and we set up an interview, and now I have that on Tuesday.
You know, now that you mention it, I'm a little nervous about all these emails we get from various places on our school email, because now I don't know if I would have missed anything. So now I see this thing, something about case manager position, a weird bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I'm going through it now. I'm like, uh-oh.
I check all the time.
I mean, I checked it. You know what? Honestly, like I said, I got lax last 2 weeks, and I think a lot of the pressures have been piled on all of a sudden. So I'm like kind of distracted. I managed to get my work done by taking time off of work, but I'm probably gonna have to take another day off this week to make sure I get the diversity interview thing in.
When is that due?
The
I have no
28th.
idea. 28th?
The first day, 28th. Yeah, it's a week from today.
1 week. 1 week from today. So we have a week to finish that. And is there like a guideline on how many pages it should be?
I think 10. I think she cut it back a little.
Yeah, I think the reflection was six pages.
Which
Six
reflection?
pages for reflection. All right.
Yeah,
And
there's
the
a reflection along with the manuscript of the interview.
yeah. So I have the
Wait.
interviews all cleaned up and ready to go. But I don't have
Terrence, can you say that again?
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
I think
What is-
there's a 6-page reflection paper that has to go with it. And then
Okay.
there's the process recordings that have to go with it.
So the reflection is more like the
There's-
interview.
Yeah, there's
Right.
questions. There was a PowerPoint she put out. And it
Okay.
has the questions on.
I printed
yeah.
that out.
Yeah, the questions are on there if you look at the PowerPoint of what I think there was like 6 questions of
For the
what you
interview.
should look at, during the interview.
Yeah.
My other question was with the community study. If you guys looked at TK20, it has a weird label for what it says you're submitting. So I'm wondering, I'm hoping she just had it, or the two of them, they had a weird label for it. But I used the link that they had and
I haven't
submitted it.
gone into TK20 in a while. I'll go to TK20 now and check.
I've
It
never used
didn't-
TK20.
It didn't say community study. It said like work, some sample of something or other, and it was just kind of odd. And
Mm,
I'm assuming it was a little glitch or technical difficulty that's not going to affect our.
mhm.
Oh yeah, it was called. No, not that. Other new content. First section of group assessment process.
Oh, shit.
Did you see anywhere on Blackboard that we're supposed to submit that thing yesterday? Because I just emailed it to her. I didn't find anything linking it to Blackboard.
Yeah, there was a thing saying, well, if you look at today's week, it says that it's due.
I know it's due, but I just emailed it. 'Cause I didn't see like anywhere in Blackboard to submit it.
Oh, no, I know she said the 20th. So no.
Yeah. So now I'm seeing like first section of group assessment progress.
She updated something
Link.
like 15 hours ago saying
Oh,
with the
okay.
questions. If you look, you know how when you log on your site, there's like the little red thing on the top left corner. The
Yeah.
updates with it.
Then there's an email that gets generated. I'm seeing that now. It came out last night.
Yeah, then there's
So
like a little
I just,
clock
I
or
didn't use
whatever.
that link. It wasn't on my blackboard at that point. So
I just noticed it
That's
today when I was going for the PowerPoint. I'm like, "God, where'd that come from?"
yeah, so I emailed it to her. So I don't know if it was an update situation with Blackboard or what, but
well,
I'm
you
sure she
sent
got
it.
it.
Yeah,
I CC'd you guys, right? Did you guys all get, was those the right emails for you guys? They CC'd?
I saw it.
Okay. All right. So I'm sure she's fine. I should be fine with it, but like, wait a minute. I get nervous when I see like changes last minute to how to submit things.
I'm eager to see how our oppression papers were graded.
Well, she probably had to take her time to read mine because it was
She-
long.
mm,
You guys know I'm wordy when I write.
Have you gotten grades back for any of your other things in that class? Like the modules?
All I saw were like there's some grades that are on Blackboard, which was interesting. 'Cause last semester we didn't have that. There weren't any grades posted.
Jenny,
Isn't
I
that-
haven't seen any individual comments for oppression with the modules. It's like she just sends that email to the group
Yeah.
and comments
But-
like on the themes that she.
There's
Yeah.
really only 2 grades on the on mine.
Yeah. Online there's like 2 grades, but I think
Yeah.
I think they just basically she does a rubric and
'Cause She
Mhm.
she graded the reflection paper, class activity.
Mhm.
yeah.
That was it.
Mhm.
Well, maybe there's something going on that, she did like give us a reprieve on those 2 weeks of stuff.
Oh,
Maybe a light bulb went off. Wait a minute, this is too much.
I know she had that thing in her family where a kid or something had COVID or someone had COVID or
Oh,
whatever it
that's
was.
right. That's probably not a part of it too. That's a thing, you can't really predict that kind of stuff. You can't
Mhm.
like plan for it.
No, I know we have something going on. I just got a mass text from my supervisor saying that I guess someone tested positive on the unit but they're so secretive of who it is. which I
Still,
can't stand.
well, they're secret because it's an HR issue. You can't
Yeah.
release health information.
Well, then
But I'm
what,
surprised you still.
what if I was working with a person in close contact for like 2 days prior, I think I should be aware of, at least say
Yeah.
you were
Yeah.
in contact with somebody.
Hopefully, they're able to
exactly.
like identify you're with that person if you were.
I think you should
Um,
look at the schedules and stuff. And
Yeah, I mean, they
if
would be
stop
able to
doing
tell you.
that,
I don't know. They get a little lax, I think, since people have gotten vaccinated.
which is the
A
issue.
little. Yeah.
Did you see Miami declared a state of emergency?
Yeah, I
Right.
saw that in the news.
I guess everyone's
Yeah.
going for spring break.
Well, what
You knew-
happened, I
we knew
guess,
that would happen with spring break.
Yeah, well, it's not even just spring break. What happened is a lot of these kids, because of like what we are, like online classes, they just move down south and move into Florida, the beach houses and stuff, and they're just staying there and
Yeah.
partying all the time and doing online classes.
Mhm.
So that's one of the reasons my parents left a little early,
Hmm.
more than expected.
But now, do you have the parents staying with you, or they got their own? They have their
No,
own
you would think
place?
that my emotional trauma I'm experiencing from this whole thing is because of that, but no, it's not. It's not that.
Hmm.
Well, you're
it-
lucky there.
It's lack of understanding and knowledge of what's expected now, because the long-standing pattern has been that they're in Florida for like the last 15 years, and now all of a sudden they moved to be close to me.
Okay. Well, now is when you put in something called boundaries.
Well, the problem is being able to be, just the right amount of not violence, but the proper boundaries. Because if I come down too harsh, I come across as being mean. And if I come across as too light, then they're gonna just walk all over me.
Right.
Yeah. So, and I wouldn't have these problems if it wasn't just like it's my own personal stuff more than them, I guess. But it's a really weird situation.
I have, so I technically have 4 parents. I have
Mm.
my mother and my father, and then I have my dad's new wife. Well, I call it my stepmom from her, and then my
Mm.
mom remarried, and I have her wife too. So I technically have 4, and of the 4, only one of them has very good. No, 3 of the 4 have pretty good boundaries. My biological mother is a helicopter mom.
Yeah. Well, my brother is the baby, so they helicoptered around him until now. But now that they moved to Fort Lauderdale 10, 15 years ago to be near him, and he's taking a new job and moving to the West Coast, they don't want to follow him. So I've been elected as the person they're going to be near. But their idea of being near to me is living in, I don't know if they would call it, is it the South Bank of a South Shore of Mass? Is that what you call it? It's like just past Providence. It's called Fairhaven, the city. So it's like an hour and a half away.
If they're moving to Fairhaven, Connecticut, don't go to their house.
No, it's Fairhaven,
Fairhaven's not a great
Massachusetts.
area.
Yeah, it just passed Providence. You know, they didn't want to do Rhode Island because of the taxes on whatever.
Yeah.
So it doesn't sound like a big deal, but the example of my anxiety is that they were going to be driving past today and they weren't clear about whether they're going to stop or not.
Well, you're doing a master's program and you have academic obligations and you need to know if they plan to come and what time they plan to come. And you're available for an hour.
Well, plus my fiance likes to keep the house clean, and it's very important. You know, it's very important. He's got to have everything's got to. He has to know, and it's just a lack of understanding his needs from them too. So I don't know. It's just bizarre. So
Is
it's
that
one
why
of
you
those
can't keep
things.
your things on the, is that why you can't keep the things on your table?
I plead the fifth.
Listen, my daughter's father was like the most OCD person ever. And then when she came and he started like changing diapers and leaving them on the counter and stuff, I said, what happened to your OCD? Why are you so clean? I'm just too tired.
Well, you know,
And then
like,
we
the
just
thing
ended
that-
up having stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
So
My parents are just kind of strange. They're very strange people. Like they call them the Cold of Two. And like they come, like when I first bought this house a few years, like 3 years ago, they came for Christmas and they decided to move all the furniture and rearrange it in my living room
Oh
for the
my.
needs of. So, and they didn't think twice of it, you know. It's just one of those, you know, weird things like that kind of makes it difficult, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
sometimes people have good intentions with that. Like I went
Yeah.
the weekend my
did.
daughter died, I went and stayed with my parents for the weekend just because I kind of was like,
Mhm.
my dad has a really nice house and had a beautiful pool. Like it just was like really, really nice, like upscale. So I was like,
Mm.
let me go hang out there for a little while. And when I came home, my boyfriend had rearranged the house and I was like, why would you do that? He had like taken all the stuff down,
Yeah.
everything. Like I wanted you to be, we can't afford to move right now. And I wanted you to come home and have like, it look like a different kind of environment. Like it's her crib was down, like everything was put away, like, but very respectfully, like he moved. So the family room closet, it's like where her stuff is until we're ready to donate some of it. And then he rearranged the furniture in the living room so it looks like we have a cool looking house now.
Mhm.
But we are looking to potentially move. We're not sure yet. Depends.
Yeah.
We're in a 1-bedroom right now, and
Well, it's
so
always good to have more space if you can afford it. It's tough these days, though.
that's the problem is we really can't right now. You know,
I think I'm gonna wait
they
for a
don't
couple years.
the financial toll that
Yeah,
everything just played on us was astronomical. So
I'm waiting for this bubble to burst because you know all the housing is gonna come crashing down when people start moving back to the city. So right now
nice.
it's
So
all.
my dad's neighbor, my dad lives in Westport. He lives in a very fancy area. So
Mhm.
on his street, there's 6 or 7 houses, and they're all massive. And so my dad's neighbors, so the people on the left, have been trying to sell their house for years, years. And they ended up, it started on the market at 7, I want to say a little over 7 million. And they ended up in the end selling it for like, they kept having to drop the price. They sold it right before COVID for 3.8 million. And now they're kicking themselves because everybody is moving. And if they live if they want to live in a super, super nice upscale neighborhood that's similar to like a Bronxville or like area near New York City, a lot of people are going to Westport
Mhm.
if they're coming to Connecticut. And my dad's neighbors are like, the new ones are like, they're like my age. They're really young. They have 2 kids and now they have like a 10,000 square foot house. Like,
Yep.
And
Well,
what
it's
you're gonna
crazy. Like
have,
I was looking on Zillow to see, like, thinking, oh, because I thought, maybe moving to Middletown where it's kind of more convenient for work and stuff. But all the houses everywhere now are kind of inflated all of a sudden because people
Yeah.
are just people. It's been a boom for the real estate in Connecticut.
Yeah.
You know.
yeah. Like my
So-
landlord sold, so we live, there's probably 10 units in this house. He sold the house and they tried to
Hmm.
change our lease and everything in the middle of it. Like they tried to tell us it was going up to 1045 or something like that. And I was like, no, like we've paid 995 for 2 years, I'm not going up on in the middle of a pandemic.
Hmm.
Get the hell out of here. And then my landlord had given me a 2-month cut when Ember died. And these people are like, I mean, it's been a few months, right?
Yeah.
Do you
Are
know
you
how much that
serious?
costs?
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's
It's
the lack of empathy is
insane.
crazy.
Oh my
Especially
God, I
nowadays
had-
when they're lucky to even paying rent because a lot of people are taking advantage of the
Right,
COVID.
right. It's
Oh,
insane.
I could never be a landlord. I'm not that cool.
Well, just don't give them a key to the house.
No, I won't. I think the problem is I just don't know I don't know what the expectations are. Like, mom's very clear that she's moving here in this part of the country to be near me because she wants to be near one of her kids. But what does that mean? I mean, hour and a half away. I'm not going to be, driving out there to help, do this
Okay,
and
well,
that.
my parents are, my mom and her wife are 10 minutes away and my dad is 20 minutes away.
That makes sense to me. Like, if you're going to be near somebody, be near them. Don't have this game where you're like, I'm near you, but I'm still
Well, an
2 hours
hour and a
away.
half versus 23 hours or 22 hours. It's not
Yeah,
so
but
bad.
I could fly down to Fort Lauderdale in that time. If it was a real emergency, I could hop on a plane and be down there in 4 hours. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just a change. Change is hard. Change is so scary. So
Mhm.
it's
That's
driving a
true.
little anxiety, which is hard. It's distracting me from I could have all this work done by now. But it's just like emotional drain. I'm sitting there waiting for things to happen.
Yeah.
Plus it's nice, the weather's getting nice all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's gonna be beautiful this afternoon. Picking up
So
my
now I want to gather
5-year-old niece.
clean my yard.
Although if you need a good laugh, my 5-year-old niece has been around more. She does not behave. Like it's my boyfriend's side of the family, and her mom is like a borderline alcoholic. So it's a little triggering for me because of my brother, but I love Riley and I'll always allow her around. And so she asked me for Easter for a bike. And it was always something she wanted to do with Ember was she wanted to put her on the bike, on the back of the bike and ride her around and stuff like that. And I was like, well, Auntie can't afford a bike right now, but why don't we get a scooter? And so we're in the store and she tells me, Auntie, she goes, come here. And she whispers in my ear, she goes, let's go rob a bank. And then we can come back and you'll be able to afford the bike. And I'm like, what? Who do stuff like that? Her
Problem
mom's boyfriend.
solved.
Her mom's boyfriend. Okay, so great. So, Lewis is telling you that you can rob a bank to get a bike. Okay. So I told her no. I said, we'll get a scooter. So we got a scooter. We got in the car. She's like, you know what? You're incredible. And I'm thinking she's telling me I'm incredible. I'm like, thank you so much. She's like, it's not a compliment. She's like, I was like, what? She's like, you're a criminal. I'm like, I'm a criminal? And she's like, yes. I'm like, no, I thought here I am thinking this 5-year-old's telling me that I'm incredible.
Oh no. Carla Malzabe.
And she's calling me a criminal. And then she tells me she's going to call, this is the best, she's going to call 911 on me because I wouldn't go rob a bank and get her a bicycle.
There you go.
I said, yep, you
Here's
call
the phone, honey.
911. You call 911 and see what they do.
I had to try to explain to my kid yesterday why I didn't give a homeless person money. I don't know if you ever had that question, you know,
I
the
did.
honest,
I did.
honest deadpan
And I
question.
said, I don't want it to be the last dollar they use to get high and die.
Well, so I didn't say that, but
That's what I would tell my siblings. They're like, why don't you just give them $1? It's not that much. I'm like, because that could be the dollar that makes the whatever amount of money they need to go get high and then they die.
well,
I'm not
it's,
doing that.
yeah.
I used to drive around, I used to have blessing bags in my bag and I'd have like different ones. For the women, I had sanitary stuff in it. I had snacks, toothbrush, toothpaste, a new pair of underwear and socks, something like that.
Oh, that's sweet.
Um,
That's thoughtful. I mean, I would just say I don't have any cash. I don't carry cash, but it was just like, it's the first time I did it with my older son, and he's a very generous heart, and he's like, he looks at me and we get in the car, doesn't say anything, we get in the car and he's like, Daddy, why didn't you give her anything? I said, oh, oh, sometimes, you know, well, sometimes it's not helpful. But
if I'm going back that way again, like I'll say, what can I get you from McDonald's or something like
oh,
that?
that's nice.
But it's with COVID and then with Ember, I wasn't even opening my windows.
Mhm.
So, and I felt like it would be real asshole-ish if I was like, stay there, I'll throw it to you. Can you catch?
No, but I had to come up with on the spot
Pulling it
explanation
out
of
the
all that.
sunroof?
Yeah. Well, but you know, because I, you know, where they're coming from, they're, you know, adopted from families of people that, a lot of people are like kind of like that, where they're, you know, have to go around panhandling sometimes, and so I understand why he was
I just
curious.
don't like when they lie.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You never know.
No.
Mhm.
But
I
yeah.
bought soda and chips for one person one time and they asked for the receipt.
Wait, you what?
I
Oh,
bought
for
soda and chips
for
for
Social
one
Security.
person and no, and they asked for the receipt. Like, can I have, because they were gonna return it and get the money.
Will they
Oh,
do that, or maybe they need it for Social Security though.
Yeah,
That's
taxes,
the other
right?
thing.
They want to
Yeah,
file
well,
the
you have to
taxes and
always,
put it in there.
whenever you you get your Social Security check, you're supposed to show them receipts for where you spent your money. So they could use it for that too. A lot of people used to serve at my old nonprofit, always needed receipts for everything. They're always going on. It's such a burden for them too, because you know they're not really spending money on those things that are on receipts. They just go and they spend on whatever. But then, you know, they still find ways to justify it and show. Oh yeah, it's all on food.
In that case, they could just go in the garbage can at CVS and get all the receipts that get thrown out.
That's what they do. That's what they do. You know, literally talking for what, $800 a month or whatever. They, you know, I mean, I don't keep my receipts. Why would I expect a person that's homeless to be trying to keep receipts? It's kind of unfair burden.
mhm.
Yeah. How's everybody feel? We feel like we were distracted for a long enough time.
I don't know what. Yeah. I don't know what time we started recording.
Yeah,
We're at
it's
51
been 45 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
51 actually.
Well, thanks guys for picking up all the slack on that last submission. The draft thing, or you want to call it the project. I for question 3, I really didn't feel like there was a lot of like meaty information to put in there. I was supposed to just pare things down and kind of describe why. So hopefully you guys didn't feel like I slacked off.
No,
You know I did, but I hope you guys don't feel that way.
no, it's all good.
It's kind of hard. It's weird though trying to do that disjuncted, like, you know, but they were all, you know, kind of split up as far as the duty for the assignment.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hopefully it could be smoother next time for the next part of it.
Well, I think I'm just
All
gonna
right.
admire the beautiful day from my window all day. Like, hello,
Yeah.
spring day. I wish I was out there.
I'm trying to just figure out how long it's gonna take to write that diversity paper. I'm on question 1 now. I'm thinking if I can get that done in 5 or 6 hours this week, that would give me time to enjoy a little of the sunshine today.
The
But
diversity, the reflection questions, or just like the reading questions?
no, the interview
paper?
questions.
The
Yeah,
what?
the interview analysis.
Oh,
There's like six questions you have to answer.
yeah, I
With-
can't. I don't have any space for that right now. I
Yeah,
gotta bang it.
it's due in a week, but I don't know. I haven't even looked at I haven't really started answering the questions for the immigration yet.
Hmm.
So
The
I'm
ones on,
about to get coffee and do that now.
what'd you say?
I said I'm about to get some coffee and do that now.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna drink a lot of coffee today. I've already had 2 cups, well, maybe like 2.5.
mm. Time for the Red Bulls.
I don't do Red
It
Bull.
tastes disgusting to me. My friend is obsessed with them. And
It's
I'm
so
like,
bad.
I tasted the sugar-free ones and I actually like them. I don't know why. I just, it's kind of like not soda, but kind of like soda, I guess.
Hmm.
You have an opinion, Terrence?
No,
Are
no,
you
no.
pro Red Bull? Are you have a third shift
No.
sometimes?
Those
No,
are just
not
so
really.
bad for us.
oh. But then again, so is alcohol and I still drink that. So
Oh,
Yeah.
wait,
I like-
wait.
I
I'm
like.
on 21 days, no alcohol.
Oh, good for
Good for
you.
you.
Good for you.
I had to do 10 months of no alcohol while I was breastfeeding. So I'm
Oh,
making
wow.
up for it now. I have a
Yeah.
glass of wine with dinner and that's it.
That's the other thing that's the thing about my parents. They drink a lot of wine. So my lack of wine so far, my ability to kind of not do that for a long time, it's gonna be challenged.
I'm feeling empowered, honestly.
Yeah. Good for
I-
you. I like Red Bull because it's not coffee, and coffee is acidic for me in my stomach every once in a while. I drink too much.
Mm,
I drink so much coffee that every once in a while I gotta switch over.
mhm.
Michelle, who
noticed-
was that? Who's email from for the internship? It was from Diane,
It was from Diane. Yep,
not
so
from some other.
yeah, so she sent an email to myself and to this woman from New Reach and described me a little bit and then just said, Michelle, send your resume and times that you would be available for an interview to this woman and we'll go from there, basically. And I received that email and I emailed the lady from New Reach like within hours and just tried to get the ball rolling. And I've
She
gone
must
back. and-
have. She must have prioritized you then because of your situation. That's good. 'Cause
I don't
see
know,
anything yet.
maybe. I feel like I kind of reached out for support and
Yeah.
she made me feel really good and said she applauded my bravery of disclosing my situation to her and that she has seen and heard a million things in her days in her role and that she was here to support me, which made me feel really good because I was feeling very, by no one else's fault, I was just feeling very alone as a new master's student because I'm like, I have this like thing looming that I, like,
Mhm.
what am I gonna do? I just felt tainted, but I think I alleviated some of that pressure from myself.
Well, you're definitely not alone and feeling alone. So I think all of us have a little sense of that with this whole virtual learning thing on top of it all too.
Yeah.
It's hard to connect when you don't have any real in-person connections.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, so I have that interview on Tuesday at 12:30 with it will be 3 people interviewing
Good.
me.
You'll do great. I'm sure you will.
It will.
It'll be good.
You'll dazzle them.
Thanks. I get lots of thoughts, like I write down random thoughts sometimes. I don't know if you guys have an iPhone, but I do in the notes. There's a little notes thing on there. Like I'll get a thought and I'll be like, hold on, where's my phone? If I don't have paper and like, I already started taking notes on things that I can say to sort of sell myself and why I would be a good fit for the organization. So
Wow.
it'll be good.
I'm gonna have trouble being like energized and positive because I just feel like I'm so done with trying to impress people. I'm just so done with it. I'm not in the mood today,
Listen,
but
all you
well,
can do, what was it? I have like the 5-minute mindfulness journal that my stepmom gave me.
Ooh, look at
Oh,
And I
that.
hate writing in books. So I'll like photocopy a page and write
Mhm.
so that I can
You're
do
too
that page
funny.
again sometime. Huh?
Mhm. I said you're too funny.
That's cool.
So when
You
I'm
must,
feeling
have a
like,
desk too.
huh?
You must have a desk because you have it all right there.
I do.
Oh, I'm jealous.
You don't have space in your house to put a desk?
No, it's a small house.
No.
It's just not functional for any of
Or
the
it would
spaces
just,
I have.
it wouldn't meet with the feng shui needs of your fiance.
Well, I mean, saying that, it's, it's a one open space, with a dining area and living area and a kitchen. And there's no real space to make into a study.
Mhm.
The bedrooms are all used by kids or me, and, so it's,
Yeah.
we'll see. Maybe one day.
I'm watching my house shrink. So I love my house. I love old houses, and my house was built in 1910, like
Mm,
original hardwood floors, original windows. I love it, but it's kind of a beach community.
mhm.
So it's smaller property. And with twins, my kids have, we did the transitional beds, like toddler
Right.
bed. So
Oh, yeah.
they're still in those, and then there's a dresser in between, but they're getting bigger by the second, and I need to buy 2 beds. And in the two, my room is bigger, and then the 2 other rooms, they're bigger than they're not closets, but they're not huge spaces, but there's
Mhm.
weird angles. So like it changes everything. I'm like,
Yeah.
what am I gonna do? But guess what? I can't think of this until after the end of our semester, because I'm just
Yep.
like, I'm like, my house is shrinking. What am I gonna do? I have 2 more years of this program, and I have a desk in what the kids call the quiet room. It's we call it the quiet room because daddy's working with his little makeshift desk operation in the bedroom from home. And it's like,
Mm.
I just don't even know.
So do your kids share a room? So that
They
you have an
do.
office? That's good.
I mean, I can't even believe I'm gonna do this. Okay, so we got,
They share your room.
there's the
Hey,
ironing board, there's the floor, there's like my dad's antique dresser with a cat. I mean, it's crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. So I want, with those shows where like someone comes into your home and shows you how to utilize your space the best. Like I need someone like that.
yeah.
come
Well, the
and help
problem is,
me.
like you're saying, like a house like that, you can't find a space for things. It's not, even if you
Yeah,
want the space,
And I
yeah.
can't, the wall.
Mhm.
I would bump my head every day on that wall.
It's not, well, you're just not gonna walk under it. But it just changes our ability. I saw this
Oh,
cool
yeah.
bed at IKEA where it's like the wooden structure comes
Mm.
up all the way around to the rectangles high. So you could have the bed on the bottom or at the top, which is kind of like a space saver because when the bed is at the top, they can play underneath and do stuff like that. But
Yeah.
the angled walls, it might interfere with that.
Yeah.
And they're 4, and they said they don't want their own room yet. So that allows me to have this playroom / desk area for longer, but I don't know. Everything will be fine.
It will. It'll work out.
It will.
One day they'll be ready, and you'll be ready to give them their own space, and it'll all work out. You'll have that high-paying job, and you'll be able to afford a nice bigger house if
Yes.
you want.